don't know how many of you caught the Dilly Hussain stream last night with Rabbi Beck. But I thought it was notable for its nothingness and its snivelling. I have reached out to Dilly Hussain before. I noticed that he has still not accepted my friend request, which I think I made probably last year, or yeah, it must have been within the last few months. So, what explains all this? Obviously, they're being a little snooty about secular Quranism, but they don't quite want to attack it because they don't want to give it the oxygen of publicity, I suppose. But anyway, whatever they think of me, I have more access to better quality rabbis than they do. Nichirai Carter is basically regarded as the, well, I don't know, the Ahmadiyya of Muslims. And since this Rabbi Beck is some person that Dilly met in his childhood, it was a very deferential, very friendly interview in which no difficult questions were asked. What I found most frustrating of all was that he actually mentioned the no-hide laws, and he didn't go in for the kill. And then he also snivelled throughout. So what is it with these Muslims? They think they know everything, but what they do is they stay together for safety. Look at his Facebook page. It's full of polite comments of the converted that he is preaching to. They only want to talk to other Muslims and complain about everyone else. Well, it is I who have reached out to everybody. I do know everybody, in fact. I do venture out into hostile territory. While these Muslims with enormous numbers of subscribers basically preach to the converted who are a little turgid in their ideas. Turgid, unimaginative, repetitive, and not prepared to consider new ideas, or in any way engaging with them. So it's a shame that I can't troll Dilly's Facebook account because he won't accept my Facebook friend request. So despite their much vaunted faith in God, they are really quite cowardly in a way, thinking they have it all, thinking they know it all, and won't engage with anyone else not in their narrow-minded circle. Such a shame, because so much can be made of everything that's going on. Still, I should be grateful for little mercies in that I do have some Muslim interest. Obviously those who do not wish to stay in the herd of Sunni mentality. I think we could have a lot to say about what's going on if only we would engage with each other. So what's a problem with Dilly's stream with Rabbi Beck other than the constant snivelling and his refusal to use a handkerchief? It is the usual preoccupation with the Palestinians. This is obviously a rallying cry for the Ummah, but really, not everybody is Muslim, and I've known Labour-supporting Muslims who don't give a damn about the Palestinians and want them to shut up. In any case, the territorial dispute is about something more. Muslims resent Jews for getting back into Israel under the aegis of Western imperialists. And of course these Western imperialists assist the Jews in moving people out and then trying to appease them with the benefits of liberalism, which means the benefits of neoliberalism and neoconservatism. Neoconservatism is a word for Western imperialism headed by America, and neoliberalism is uncontrolled mass immigration that everybody hates. Dilly mentioned the no-hide laws, I think in the 33rd minute of his stream. No, the 31st minute. I would have thought that he would know my position on the no-hide laws. But I guess he's been shutting his eyes and ears to what I've been saying about the no-hide laws for, I think maybe it's been 2 years now. Still not getting it about the ranking of the Gentile religions that I ask rabbis to do. Still not getting it. At least the rabbis get it. At least, to give credit to the rabbis, they are prepared to engage, while Islamic scholars disdain to talk to me, probably because they are intellectually insecure. At least rabbis and Jews think they are the smartest people on earth, while Muslims do not seem to have that degree of intellectual self-confidence with which to deal with me and engage with me. So does anybody think he asked any good questions? Did he put him on the spot about anything? Well, there's no need to put somebody on the spot when they already agree with you. What's so special about the Neturai Carter rabbis? They're of the school that Jews should of course return to where their ancient kingdom once was, but not change anything, not impose liberal democracy, live as they find. And that would mean living under Sharia. Well, actually, I'm not sure how they lived under the Palestine Mandate. I suppose they would have lived under a British governor. Let's have a look. Mandate for Palestine. So it was under British administration, conceded by the Ottoman Empire following the end of the First World War. So it was assigned to Britain by the San Remo Conference, when basically the great powers of Europe were dismantling the Ottoman Empire, who supported the wrong side in the First World War. So in 1917, the Balfour Declaration was made. During the Mandate, the area saw the rise of two nationalist movements, the Jews and the Palestinian Arabs. Yeah, it was particularly difficult. The Ottoman Empire was no more, the British Mandate for Palestine was no more, and so they thought they would impose liberal democracy. And that meant being a Western colonial outpost for the Americans. So that's really the problem. If only the Arabs had the what's the word I'm looking for? Have the self-awareness to just ask the Jews to do what they want, which is to say to the Israelis, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. When in the Middle East, do as the Middle Easterners do and live under Sharia. Why don't they just say that instead of whinging about their territorial disputes? And that's what they want, really, isn't it? And what they're saying is, you're supposed to be the people chosen by God to set and uphold standards, and here are you submitting to your Christian overlords, being the only liberal democracy in the Middle East. You should live under Sharia. That's what they should say, instead of beating about the bush and whinging about being badly treated because they have a tendency to commit acts of terrorism. Why not just use the theological arguments to get to the Jews? If God exists, then he would expect Jews in Israel to live under theocracy. Does he expect them to live in a Torah theocracy, really? With 36 capital offences, with Al-Aqsa built on the site of the Third Temple? Surely they are signs from God to say, hey Jews, I know you're not up to living under a Torah theocracy, so I put the Al-Aqsa Mosque there to stop you from rebuilding the Third Temple. Here's a mercy to you if the Al-Aqsa Mosque were not there. Then you'd be fighting each other about who's going to get the contract to rebuild the third temple and what design it's going to be. Will it be neoclassical? Will it be, well, I don't know, the styles of architecture of the first and second temples? They would probably have a civil war, and which rabbi is going to officiate over the rituals? Will they be sacrificing animals again? That would have been a great headache for the Jews. You can imagine the rabbis fighting over who's going to do what ritual. So the Al-Aqsa Mosque on Temple Mount is a mercy to Jews. And this means, really, that if God exists, he would be saying, I know you're not up to living in a theocracy, you haven't lived in one for 2,000 years, not in your own one anyway. Now, you've lived in Christian theocracies and you've lived in Muslim theocracies, which was, on the whole, better to you? That could be the question. So, you only have two kinds of lower level, entry level starter theocracies that the Jews could have. It would be unrealistic to expect Israeli citizens, Jewish though they may be, to live under a Torah theocracy with 36 capital offences. On the other hand, there are 6 Sharia theocracies in the world, and no Christian theocracies at all. The Vatican doesn't really count. You can't live as the men in the Vatican do, can you? So that's no kind of model at all. So the Jews will predictably object, saying, I'm very familiar with their arguments that Islam is a false religion, the Quran is a lie. I've actually talked to these rabbis, and that's what they think. But they can't answer my question on where in the Torah it says that God can't have made another revelation, a better revelation for Gentiles, i.e. the Quran. Nowhere in the Torah does it say, this is the final revelation, we're not doing any more, even though Jews obviously find it too hard to follow, since only half the Jews in the world are observant Jews, and nobody actually follows these rules. Certainly the rules for punishment. So the 36 capital offences are never enforced. So what happens if you have laws that you never enforce? You would basically be bringing the law into ridicule and contempt. What's the point of saying something terrible will happen to you, and then when you do it, nothing happens? So the judiciary of the past would periodically have tidying up, housekeeping exercises when they would formally repeal laws that are no longer enforced. But the Jews haven't done this because, well, I guess they're not in a position to. But any Jewish philosopher or jurist would know that this is the case, that if you have laws that are never enforced, then the likelihood of their existence their formal and official existence in your legislation will mean that the law will eventually be brought into ridicule and contempt. And it is Islam that perfectly understands that whatever is your moral system, that will be your legal system. Your laws should reflect your moral system. And this is actually only, it's a truism in the sense that it is universally and always true that whatever your moral system will be reflected in your laws. So what we have in the West now is the laws of intersectional feminism. I would say that's a problem, but this doesn't seem to have been acknowledged because most Western men, Jew and Gentile, are in denial or incapable of having that discussion, as Dilly is not. So unfortunately we have this position where everybody is doing their own thing and apparently happy to do so. They will muddle on in their error and their ignorance while refusing to engage with anyone whose questions they cannot answer. And I could include Jews and Muslims. So Dilly thinks he's done very well to get a rabbi on his channel, but actually Nichirai Carter wouldn't be featured on the mainstream at all. As I've already said, Nichirai Carter is the Ahmadiyya of Jews. Now, if Muslims were to understand what my proposals are, they would do a lot better for themselves. But it seems like people like Dilly are too snooty to talk to me. They think that, well, how many subscribers does he have? And followers. So obviously he doesn't really need to be nice to people like me, right? I mean, look, go and have a look at the comments. I see 37 so far, not that many. None of them as perceptive as mine, and most of them are mine, complaining about this snivelling and the lack of decent questions. So, but let's go to his Facebook page first. He's got 10,000 followers, but he's too scared to talk to me, right? And the comments, I'm going to read to you the okay, this is Facebook. The Facebook comments of his interview with Rabbi Beck. Luca Dawood, 12 minutes in and this is groundbreaking for modern standards. Oh really? And Dilly says, Jazakallah Khairan, bro, your feedback is always welcome and warmly received. Luca Dawood, really happy this is the future of discourse. May Allah SWT continue bless and guide 5 pillars. Says Luca Dawood, and Dilly says, Ameen Ya Rab. And then somebody posts a meme, and then Dilly Hussain says, I'll just read to you just the kind of stuff they say. Really happy this is the future of discourse. No, sorry, I repeat. Jazakala Kairan bro, I had a very bad cold that day. And then Muhammad Javed says, yes, you're doing a great job, but just started watching it. May Allah reward you. And Muhammad Javed, just in case anyone is wondering, the 7 laws of Noah include prohibitions against worshipping idols, cursing God, murder, adultery, and sexual immorality, theft, eating flesh torn from a living animal, as well as the obligation to establish courts of justice. Ani Kanwa, may Allah guide this Yahudi brother to Islam. And that's it. That's all the comments on that stream. Let's go to the main one. So somebody called Abu Mithak Yemen said, great questions, and may Allah reward you and your team, Brother Dilly. I wish, if you have him on the next, to ask what they think about Islam. Yeah, that's kind of sycophantic comments that you get there. Somebody called Safia M says, I saw him on Vice for the first time and he seemed like such a nice old man. May Allah guide him. P.S. His voice is very cute. Mr. Aji, awesome podcast, different from the regurgitation of other platforms. Khalid bin Walid, love these guys, wish I could watch their whole life. Muhammad Kamal Hussain, very interesting, and that's it. Somebody called MMA Diagnosis, mashallah, my brother Dilly, keep up the great work. Dickin Valley, so happy to see our brother from the Jewish faith with his gentle smiles and fat truths, and wishing you so many blessings after all your sneezing. Shamas Rasul, may Allah guide him. I liked your light comments in between. Somebody called Billy Wee. Having a rabbi that has maybe 5,000 supporters out of 15 million Jews portrayed as if he's representative of Jews makes you look foolish. That's the only real comment so far. This group is denounced by all Jews, even the Satmar sect, which is very anti-Zionist. They put out announcements that they have nothing to do with Neturai Carter, and anyone that associates them will be thrown out of Satmar. Somebody called MU, another amazing podcast, mashallah. Who's this Rabbi Yusa? Get him on to explain the 7 laws of Noah. Oh, well, thank you, MU. At least you know what I'm on about. Somebody called Akil says, you don't believe in God, you believe in the sweets. That was a profound statement. Somebody called Mosin says, just finished a podcast, extremely informative, mashallah. AM says, awesome discussion. We need more communities reaching out this way and getting to know each other better. Mono TH. Summer like come, Rabbi. I appreciate you a lot. May Allah bless you and your family. Strictly YouTube. Dilly, be more serious when you talk about certain things. It can come across as cringe at times. So well done, Dilly, for allowing critical comments. But I'm just reading the general comments, most of the comments, and they're not particularly intelligent, are they? And then somebody called Asimala, I'm here quite early, gonna save this and watch it later when I can see all the fights in the comment section. So, yeah, that's about as intelligent as it gets. But they don't want to talk to me. Because they're happy in their hug box and echo chambers, right? They don't want to talk to me. I'm happy to talk to any number of Muslim men. I don't mind venturing into hostile territory. I am known for it. But these brave Muslim brothers, they don't want to talk to me, and they can't ask proper questions when they finally meet a rabbi, and they think Neturai Carter rabbis are going to make an impression on other Jews. So, maybe it's time to get with it. Because as far as Jews are concerned, I really am the Gentile who specializes in rabbis. So thank you all for listening. Maybe somebody will mention this to Dilly, and maybe Dilly will deign to discuss a few things with me. You know, him and his mates, I don't mind going in alone and talking to these Muslim bros who are so beefy and big, you know, with their pumped up, gym-honed, beefy arms. I don't mind talking to them. So we'll see. Maybe they'll just continue to ignore me, and maybe, you know, the other Muslims will be happy that this is so. So we'll see. Thank you for listening so far.